But our next guest has some more under-the-radar top picks in the sector for your portfolio. So joining me now is Jonathan Siegmann. He's Stifel Managing Director. He's covering aerospace and defense. Jonathan, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on.
Thanks so much for having me.
So I'm going to start right here with your note. You said you recommend to investors lean into the defense industry changes and throw out the legacy defense investing playbook. What does that mean?
Yeah, so the title of the note was Reinvesting in the Arsenal of Democracy. The key word is reinvesting, and that's what we really haven't been doing for decades. What we see is a fundamental change where the defense industry is going to evolve into a growth industry, and we're most excited about the companies that today are leaning into this change, investing in new capacities, products that are cheaper and more effective, and taking advantage of this new environment. We initiated on 11 stocks in 3 different sections, and couldn't be happier with the long-term trajectory of these areas.
So when we talk about new technologies, I assume we're talking about AI, autonomy, things like drones. Who's best positioned to capture that growth?
So we have 3 companies with direct drone exposure, 2 of them AeroVironment and Kratos. And on that theme of investing, just this week, both of them hit that right on the nail on the head. AeroVironment reported results on Tuesday. I think it was most noteworthy the 80% growth they had in their loitering munition product line, and sales growing up over 40% overall. But what I was really excited about was the increase in CapEx, 6 to 8% of sales. That's 5 times what they used to spend on CapEx a few years ago. And then Kratos, just last night, announced a $500 million primary share offering. This is like the market didn't like it. It opened down, I think 7%. It kind of crawled its way up, but still down and lagged the market today. But this is exactly what we want all the companies to be doing. They're net cash as of March 31st, and they're going to be having dry powder to invest in low-cost cruise missiles, some of their drone programs, hypersonics. Can you imagine what would happen if all the industry was incrementally investing like these guys are? So I find that really exciting. And then the third drone company I would highlight is Teledyne. They're not even categorized in aerospace and defense. They're categorized in electronic instrumentation. But nearly a third of their business is government sales, and $900 million is in things that I would consider all new defense tech, drones, anti-drone, and space sensors. Great company. One of the conversations I find myself having with defense officials and with industry is this idea that the so-called exquisite legacy programs that cost many billions of dollars to make will still have a place, but that the mix, to your point, with some of these new defense technologies is changing. How much did the U.S. precision strike on Iran over the weekend highlight that dynamic and where we're headed, especially given the fact that the Pentagon is starting to outline in a little more detail here its request for the fiscal 2026 budget? So 100% right, Morgan. It's going to be a high-low mix, and we have examples of both, right? The spider web attack that Ukraine pulled off, destroying $7 billion worth of Russian aircraft with just a bunch of drones, shows what you can do with low-cost, attributable mass in using different tactics. But then what Midnight Thunder Hammer did was just a great example of what our exquisite systems that only we have and the men and women behind it can achieve. So point taken, but we can also point to some bill payers in the budget. The F-35, the initial cuts there were, I think, a lot more dramatic than folks would think. There's been some Army programs that have been reduced or cut completely. And I think this is all going to be going to the areas that I think there's bipartisan support for: drones, anti-drone, hypersonics, space technologies, where we want to invest in.